2, ready, go.
Staying live, Dan Grider, Probable Cause. It is Sunday night, August 13, 2023. Glad to have you with us tonight, Sunday night. If you're in the live chat room, make sure you say hi and tell me where you're checking in from. If you're in your mom's basement and what you're eating down there, you don't have to tell me. Our people already know. The DTSB, we're working on it. We're watching you like a hawk. I sit in this seat every Sunday night and make these little broadcasts. I appreciate all of you who have followed along. My intention here is AQP, trying to drive the general aviation fatal accident downward. I think we're having far too many senseless fatals. That's the whole purpose of this channel. Since I sat in this seat last Sunday night, 7 more fatals. I'm going to put those on the screen here in just a second. Well, I'll flash them to you here right now. But I'm going to talk about those at the end. We got a little bit of house cleaning stuff to do before we get to that. This video won't be super long. I appreciate you hanging with me. Sometimes there's anywhere between 1,500, 2,000. We've even had as many as 3,000 people here in the chat room, and I sure appreciate that. If you got any questions or things that you'd comments or things that you'd like to see done differently, the chat room is a great time to jump in there and say what you like or what you don't like. If you hate me, that's okay too. Let me know how bad you hate me. Just kind of keep it clean, and that'll be really good. Let's jump in here. We got a couple things we got to talk about real quick. Welcome. Schedule-wise, I got an EAA chapter in August 7 in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I will be up there for EAA. I forget the chapter number, but August 7 up there. I'll give it to you at a later date. Before that, Triple Tree is September 22, 23, 24. It actually goes on all week long. We'll just be there for the final weekend. We'll be there Friday morning and staying Friday night and Saturday night, camping out and staying right there and leaving Sunday morning. I think we're bringing both the Lockheed and the DC-3. That is the Amelia Earhart Lockheed, owned by Glenn and his family, Glenn Hancock, Lizzie, and Jacob. They'll be with us. And several other people got a really good bluegrass band and a bluegrass sound system that you will not believe. We're going to try to play music. Don't forget Friday night and Saturday night. Go up to Pat's Dinner up there at the top of the hill. You can buy tickets. Here's the website for it. It's $25 a piece, but it's well worth it. I go to this every year. Friday night, the dinner is Taste of Triple Tree. That's Friday night. Saturday night's the barbecue thing. Both of them are good. I'll be up there just hanging around and getting a little plate full of food up there with everybody else. And then after that, we'll be back down at the opposite end of the field at our campsite. We're just going to play music and have a little bit of an AQP program. Pat will probably come down there and say a few words to us, both Friday night and Saturday night. We'll look forward to seeing you there. If you happen to come by Triple Tree, that should be a lot of fun. You know, there's been a couple big airliner type incidents back in the news again here. I try to mostly stick to GA stuff here. I am going to dive just a little bit into this Southwest deal, but the Southwest incident, I'm not sure if you heard about this. This is San Diego involving a Citation XLS and a Southwest Airlines, a traffic control error, an ATC error that put somebody on the runway and tried to land somebody else on top of them. I'm going to show you the whole tape for that in just a second. The other one we're going to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about it much, is the United Airlines 777 that occurred last December. Some shocking information coming out of this thing here, even just now, and the whole timeline of what happened. This 777 almost splashed down in the ocean and killed everybody. Came within a couple hundred feet of hitting the ocean. And it happened in December, but the NTSB did not get involved with it until March. And I'm just now learning the intricacies of that. The more I learn about that, the more completely shocked I am. Nothing wrong with the airplane, nothing wrong with the weather, nothing wrong with anything. This was just a flight crew that wasn't paying attention. Got the airplane nose 20 degrees nose down. The 777 rides at about 3 degrees airplane nose up for level flight. This thing got to 17 degrees nose down at one point. It was coming down like a box of hammers. I am not going to do a detailed report on this. I did find my friend Laura Savino, jet captain. Here's the screen grab for her. She just did a video here today that I've had a chance to view, and I think she did a really nice job. Frankly, Captain Laura is probably more qualified than Blanco and me combined. I hate to say it. She did a really nice job on this video. If you have a chance to check this out, she has some details in there that I did not know, and I find completely shocking. Let's get back. I'm going to talk about the Southwest accident, and I'm going to put the screen grab up for this, and I'll set the stage here for you. This is a bunch of controllers, and I took the live ATC tapes. I took 5 of them. I synced them, I EQ'd them, and I balanced them. So you hear all kinds of voices on here. And then on top of that, I put a transcript on here. Now, I keep on saying female controller. The reason I'm identifying male and female is so you can say who is who. The female is very easy to identify on the tape versus the male. So you're hearing both ramp frequency, ground frequency, and tower frequency all combined on here. I've got them balanced and EQ'd out so you can kind of see what was going on. But this whole sequence is fascinating. And I'm gonna play that tape right now. It's about 3.5 minutes long, but basically the female controller, not being derogatory towards female, I'm just saying this is the voice that you're gonna hear. When it's a female, this is the local controller. This is the person that did it. She clears an airplane onto the runway for line up and wait, lets them go, and then she's got Southwest that wants to go. They line him up, but we've got a Citation XLS owned by Hy-Vee Foods from Des Moines, Iowa. They check in, but they still let Southwest Airlines go into position, line up and wait, and this whole thing. So I'm going to play this whole tape, and you can see what happens here. When we get to the red box, you'll see it stays blank for a second here, but I'm going to put the transcript up on the scene. This tape is only 3 minutes long, so bear with me. It took me 2 days to build this tape and build this transcript so you can see exactly what happened. She got distracted is what she did. She got totally distracted with her job in reading her function as a clearance delivery person. She had to give a clearance to another airplane, the Alpha airplane, 1123 Alpha or something like that. She had to give them their clearance, their amended clearance. She went heads down while she was supposed to be looking outside. Isn't that classic and ironic for what's going on today? People that are not, they're heads down and distracted, not paying attention to their job of flying, not paying attention to their job of controlling airplanes. The control tower, the local controller, is supposed to be looking outside and paying attention to what's going on outside. She about smashed 2 airplanes together, and after that, she about smashed another Alaska airplane on top of the Southwest guy. Even after that, the whole thing is crazy. Read the transcript. I've added a little bit of fun in there so you can see how this thing goes. Here's the transcript.
Well, Tower 564, Hotel Victor on the GPS Yankee number 27 approach.
Number 564 Hotel Victor, Lumber Tower. Traffic in position was 260 at 10, runway 27.
Clear to land 27 for Hotel Victor.
Ground Southwest 2119, we're about 5 minutes prior to push here.
Southwest 2119, number ground, you said you're 5 minutes prior?
Yes, sir, we're about 5 minutes prior, looking for a flow into Oakland.
Southwest 2119, roger, the flow to Oakland has it in it. When you're ready for the push, just give me a call back.
Alright, we'll give you a call when we're ready to push. Thank you, 2119.
Grass, Southwest. Blame my left.
Southwest 2493 Lumber Tower, traffic 5 mile final, wind 250 at 11, runway 27, line up and wait.
27 line wait, Southwest 2493.
Southwest 2895, turn left at Bravo 8, taxi spot 1, contact ramp tower 129.77. Good day.
Hey, Bravo 8, taxi to spot 1 and over to ramp tower for Delta 2895.
Afternoon, Lumber Tower, Alaska 772, 9.5 back, RMP Mike 27.
Alaska 7782 Lumber Tower, winds 250 at 10, runway 27, clear to land.
Clear to land 27, Alaska 772.
Ramp Delta 2895, we're going to gate 35.
Delta 2895, sending ramp, roger, spot 4 to the gate.
Spot 4 to the gate, Delta 2895.
Alaska 1259 at 26, so push back with Victor.
Alaska 1259, Lumber Ground, push your discretion, thanks for Victor.
Alaska 1259.
Ground control, top of the morning to you. Southwest 3347 here on gate V8, 8, ready for push and start.
Southwest 3347, Lima Ground, Roger, push on to Bravo, just verify your captain ready, correct.
Push onto the Bravo, we are now captured.
Zero Alpha Limburg Tower, you'll be number 4 for departure. I do have an amendment to your altitude, advise ready to copy.
Your company up for 14 on the Bravo behind you.
November 2110 Alpha Limburg Tower, I have an amendment to your departure, advise ready to copy.
Ready to copy, 10 Alpha.
I'll verify 4 Hotel Victor, still clear to land.
Fly heading 275, correction, just fly the published missed approach.
Say again?
Citation 4 Victor Hotel, go around, fly the published missed approach.
Alright, going around, 4 Hotel Victor.
Tower Southwest 2493.
Southwest 2493, Limburg Tower, exit the runway, right turn at Charlie 2, all the way on to Charlie, please.
Roger. And reasoning?
There's traffic on a 2-mile final behind you.
So in recap, I'm going to put this transcript up on the screen by itself, and here's what it says. Basically, at the 0159 mark, Alaska 772 given clear to land with Southwest Airlines on the runway, and the XLS is on final. And then the female controller calls November 2110 Alpha with sequence and a clearance amendment. She calls him. She gives him a second call with the revised clearance, and then 2110 Alpha advises ready to copy. In that amount of time, basically about 15 seconds there, she's heads down, either getting ready to read or reading. The citation calls in, and once verifies still clear to land. Then she looks out for the first time, and she sees the problem. She issues a go-around, but she issues the go-around while the citation is still talking. He's still asking. Now, my question here is, if you were landing, if you were a citation captain, you were landing, and you saw the Southwest jet, obviously you see the Southwest jet on the runway, would you go ahead and continue, or would you self-initiate a go-around? I think you probably should have self-initiated a go-around, but she should not have cleared him to land and let him continue all the way. This should have never happened. Now, what happens on this thing? I think the citation guys are going to get a brasher. They're going to get a pilot deviation because they did not go around. I think this citation came within a few feet of hitting the Southwest. I think the pilot should have initiated the go-around, and I think the FAA is going to come down hard on both of those guys. Is the FAA going to come down on the female controller? No, they're not. And here's our problem with that. FAA is only after pilots. There is no brasher, and there is no remedial training. There is no penalty for controllers who make mistakes. Are controllers humans? Yes, they are. Do they make mistakes? Yes, they do, just like we do. Should there be some kind of a brasher for controllers? I think controllers should be held to the same standards that pilots should. I think they should have a sterile cockpit. I think they should wear a uniform. I think they should cut out the nonsense that goes on in there, and the playing on the phones and the games and the distractions that are occurring every day in our control towers and radar rooms and centers across the country. They get to go to work in a pair of jeans and a pair of Dockers and a casual shirt or a T-shirt. They get to have anybody at their desk that they want to. They get to look at their phones, and they get to do whatever they want to do. I think they should be held to a higher standard. I think they should be held to the same standard. I think that we should have cockpit voice recorders for controllers. And I think when you're working your duty station, I think you ought to pay attention to airplanes and only pay attention to airplanes. And I think controllers ought to be issued a brasher if necessary. Now, I got one more thing to do concerning brasher. Some of you don't know what this is, but I'm going to put this thing up on the screen here, and I'm going to read it to you. This comes from the JO 8020-16D. This is actually the order that tells, like pilots have the Federal Aviation Regulations, controllers have this order that tells them what to do. And there's actually two of them, but this one tells controllers, and they're under a complete obligation. It says, any employee providing air traffic services who determines that a pilot's actions may have violated an ATC procedure or the CFR, including air defense identification zone requirements contained in 14 CFR Part 99, must report the occurrence. So really, any ATC person is obligated to report it as what we call a pilot deviation. You can call it a brasher if you want. A pilot deviation, there's no option. There's no waiver. There's no way around it. If a controller sees a deviation or something that's not normal, they have to issue a pilot deviation, a brasher, call this phone number, and you're off to the races. Once they do that, it's out of their hands. They don't enforce it. They don't look into it. They don't investigate it, but they have to because of this order. nationwide, every single airport, there are no exceptions and there are no waivers. No matter what airport you go to, if a controller is involved with a pilot who makes a deviation, they are obligated to this, and it's called a pilot deviation. You're off to the races. This is important, and it's going to be important because there is no exemption, there is no waiver, no matter what airport you're at. Maybe you can think of what I'm thinking of on how come some things are the way they are, but I'm going to get a little bit further into this, and we're going to talk about some things that have occurred and are going to happen in the future. How come there are some places where controllers get a free pass? How come there's some places where pilots get a free pass and this is not honored? I think we have a huge problem here, and I'm going to address it. You know, loss of thrust on takeoff for our little general aviation boys is still a problem. I'm going to talk about 440 Zulu Mike. This is out in Idaho. Here's a picture of the crash. Made a takeoff, lost an engine, tried to turn around. The impossible turn is still impossible. Same thing in Texas, 5610 Echo. This is a Cessna 150. I don't know, but I think he took off south, tried to make a left-hand return to the field after he had his engine failure, stall spin, and this is where he hit. Both of these very, very recently, both of them fatal. The loss of thrust on takeoff is a big deal. I can tell you, lower the nose, go straight ahead, maybe a little left, maybe a little right, but go straight ahead, especially if you're in Texas. There's nothing out there. Texas is so flat, you can watch your dog run away for a week. Go straight ahead, hit something. There's nothing out there but sagebrush, and they're trying to get rid of it anyway. Go straight ahead, land your airplane, and you'll be fine. 5610 Echo, what a tragedy. Trying to turn around to get his little airplane back to the field, back to the runway so there's no paperwork. It's crazy. Out of gas, this story is insane. 8823 Zulu, 8823 Juliet. Charles, this guy picks up this airplane. It's a Cherokee 180. It's a 1965 Cherokee 180. Picks it up in California. He thinks that he's going to stay in cruise for 4 hours. Now look at this. He climbs from sea level to 13,000 feet. He climbs for an hour and 15 minutes, and then he's surprised when he runs out of gas. He actually goes on record, and he's blaming the mechanics for running out of gas because the fuel flow was not calibrated correctly. Charles, I'm sorry, but you ran this airplane out of gas. He was on the left tank. When the left tank went dry, he thought he still had 6 more gallons, and that did not last. He ended up putting this thing on an interstate, hitting a trailer. Fortunately, nobody died, but this guy, Charles, I'm not a fan. He's a 32-year CFI, and he wants to go on record. Let's look at the video of Charles giving us advice on how to fly our airplanes.
Practice emergency landings with your instructor or by yourself. Learn how your airplane glides when the engine quits.
Charles Aikens says that when he ran into trouble, decades of training kicked in.
Everything was going beautifully today until we realized we were burning more fuel than was indicated. Was burning more fuel than we knew we were burning. We don't have any equipment to identify the fuel burn rate.
Tonight, Aikens has a message for all pilots, experienced or novice.
Charles was ferrying that airplane back from California to Pennsylvania someplace. He made a takeoff. He took off with full tanks. I wouldn't try to go 4 hours on an unknown airplane. If you're trying to go 4 hours on an unknown airplane with an hour and 15-minute full power climb at the very beginning of it, you're less than a 4-hour airplane. It's just not going to work. I'm sorry. I'm glad they hit the highway, and I'm glad nothing happened here. But if you look at my recommendations at the end of this, I don't recommend you aim for the interstate. They hit a semi. They survived, and nobody got killed, but boy, it was close. Think about what you're doing out here. If you're ferrying an airplane, I would go about an hour and a half on the first leg at the very, very most. Stop and check your fuel burn. Top it off again and see how much gas you burnt, and then you have a better idea on fuel burn. You may have to hopscotch that airplane home. I've done it a lot from West Coast to East Coast and everything little. I don't go very far, and I check the fuel burn, and I stay VFR, and I do a nice flight plan, and I hopscotch. I stop as often as I need to stop, but I'm not getting involved in doing what Charles did. I don't get it, but I don't like it. If you're thinking about flying your little airplane and landing with 30 minutes worth of gas, I think you're an idiot. Plan to land with enough gas. Don't run out of gas. If you run out of gas, your little airplane land off field because you ran out of gas, I'm going to put your picture and your name on my YouTube channel. How's that? I promise you, you run your little airplane out of gas, land off field in the field because you ran out of gas, I'm putting you on YouTube. Think about it. Don't do that. We got to talk about procedures. You know, I made that video about the helicopter crash. Yeah, TCAS might have helped him. I'm very sorry for the loss of lives out there. CAL FIRE, every fire department, every aerial fire department in the United States has procedures on altitude separation. Who's the fire boss? Who's going to command it? What altitude you're going to be at? Who's going to be cleared into the area? I'm sorry, but the guys in California did not follow any of those. I'm most sorry that out of the 3 that died, only the 2 got the honors, and the fire truck and the ladder truck and all the special honors and everybody wearing suits and the big funerals. State paid for funerals. The contract pilot, what did he get? Nothing. I think that's a real crime. I wish I could do something for Tony's family. Tony Sousa was the paid contract pilot flying for the state of California as a contractor. He got nothing. He died just as well. I really feel sorry for the Sousa family that they were totally excluded from state of California memorial services for the 3 that died. They even had it written up in the papers that only 2 died. Truth is, 3 died out there. The entire thing was tragic, should not have happened, and I hope that people will take a look at that video and review their procedures. Concerning procedures, same thing as the CAF in Dallas. You air show guys, you violated some basic core air show procedures. That's how the B-17 got hit. You can't do what you did, CAF in Dallas, and you proved that. You took out 2 airplanes and 7 people because you did not follow procedures. You can't do that. Traffic pattern, I want you to stay alive out there in your traffic pattern. Follow the procedure. Climb to altitude. Fly a nice 1,000-foot downwind. Be on the radio. Keep your head outside and look for other airplanes. Fly a nice downwind base and final. Offer to extend your upwind, offer to extend your downwind. Work it out with the other guy. Listen, pay attention. If you fly a predictable standard traffic pattern, you will be alive tomorrow, and I will not have to do a video about how you were involved in a midair. Don't be unpredictable. Don't be doing crazy stuff. That helicopter crash in Oshkosh, Oshkosh Management, EAA Management, allowed those gyro guys to fly crazy all week. I cannot tell you how many people have called and texted and emailed me about the complaints that they had about the gyro guys up there. I'm not a gyro guy, but I don't see how come EAA could let that go on and knew about it all week long. That just is crazy. Two people dead. The ironic thing is the offending people lived. The people that got hit, those were the 2 that died, and I really feel bad about that. They were minding their own business. They were following the procedures. They were doing everything the way they were supposed to be, and they got hit from the left side. Never saw them coming. Never saw them coming. It's time. Let's take a look at the August fatals. So I've got them on here, right here. I'll put it up on the screen for you here. 14 so far. Not all of them are general aviation, but a bulk of them are. And since last Sunday, I'll draw the line right here. So what we've got, the Bell 407, we've talked about the Cessna 150 in Texas. That's the loss of thrust, the impossible turn. AOPA tells you to try the impossible turn. I tell you, don't try the impossible turn. Don't do that. The next one, 804 Alpha Alpha. That's an an air tractor in Missouri, a spray plane. I don't know anything about it. I don't know who was flying it. All I know is that 1 died on that. November 210 Juliet Tango. That's a P210 in Georgia. And I'm going to show you the graphic on this. This hit very close to my location. We actually went out and overflew the area the other day. I got the graphic of the storm. This is a P210, a turbine 210. This is a turbine converted pressurized 210 coming back from Florida, based at Thomaston, Georgia, KOPN, trying to get back in when he flew directly into the storm. Here's his radar track. This airplane was destroyed in flight. The left wing was not found with the rest of the wreckage, and he fell from about 12,000 feet all the way down and scattered 210 pieces all over Georgia. When you see weather like this, don't fly into it. Remember your next rad data in your airplane. He had his weather radar removed. His live weather radar was removed, and he had Garmin next rad data, which is about 8 to 10 minutes old. He was using NextRad data, and he flew directly into the face of something big and red, and it took him apart in flight. I'm telling you, don't do that. Use your credit card and go to the hotel, go a long ways around it, get on the ground and go to dinner. Think about it later. Maybe tomorrow morning it'll be better. You don't have to be there, and certainly your airplane is made out of aluminum. It's about just a little bit thicker than a beer can. It's not very thick. It's held together by rivets, and I've seen the guys that put this stuff together. It's not good for flying in thunderstorms. You don't have a tornado rating. You can't fly in this stuff. It will take your airplane apart, and you will be in free fall alive all the way till impact. I'm telling you right now, it's not a good way to do. It's not a good way to go. Don't do this. Avoid this convective activity. If it's on there, you fly a long ways around it and stay out of it. Don't go IMC in the clouds. The next one is up in Illinois just a few days ago, number 6161. It's an RV. I can't tell anything about this. I'm not even going to make a guess on what happened, who it was, or what happened. One dead in this, a fatal accident in an RV up near Verdon, Illinois, just the other day. And then beyond that, the last one is just today in North Carolina. I'm going to show you the computer-generated Google Earth picture of this. This is the power lines. This is up near Hickory, North Carolina. I don't know yet because it just happened what kind of airplane it was, but it definitely hit the power lines. Definitely at least one dead. I'm not sure yet. We'll know more later. By the time I sit in this seat next week, I'll be able to tell you who it was and what really happened. But here's a picture of the power line right here at the lake. The airplane ended up in the water. It's a Sunday afternoon. They were out flying around. There's a lot of boaters out there. A lot of people were first responders right on the scene, but they did not make it. I'm going to try to get out of here. I want to ask you for your help on this. My donation base is basically pretty meager, but $1 and $2 of your support is greatly appreciated towards my efforts here. These videos that I make every week take about 25 to 30 hours to assemble them. Then on Sundays, I got to shoot it, edit it, render it, upload it, and fine-tune it and finesse it and get it up so that you can watch it. There's no commercials in here. There's no advertisements. I don't do Patreon, and I don't do sponsors. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm just giving you the straight information so that you can stay alive. I want you to stay alive out there in your tiny little airplane. If you can help me with $1 or $2 towards my expenses and doing all this stuff, I appreciate it. I still got my full-time job of ferrying airplanes, moving airplanes, testing airplanes, giving ratings, doing AQP. I'm doing all that stuff. I'm busy 24/7, 7 days a week. I'm on the road all the time. I make okay money doing my job. I don't need YouTube for an income, but helping towards expenses helps me a lot to keep these videos going. I hope you appreciate those, and I appreciate you watching and paying attention. I want you to stay alive. Here's the bank applications you can use. They're very safe and very secure. Zelle, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. And I want you to know I appreciate that very much. Even the guys that give me $2 because my vest is dirty, $2 towards dry cleaning. I appreciate that a lot. I'm going to get out of here and get this video up and on the air for my tiny little itty-bitty fledgling YouTube channel, Dan Greider. Probable cause.